All right. Welcome back to Wise Open Media. Prophet John here. Hope you guys are doing well. Okay, so let's talk about Donald Trump here. And I've been saying it for the last two to 3 months. Donald Trump is tweeting about financials. He's tweeting about the economy a lot. He's tweeting about the stock market a lot. And the reason why I don't like it is because it's going to be used against him when the crash happens. Okay, and now, I know that some people don't believe the crash is going to happen, in the winter or the spring or even the summer or even and maybe even the fall. Some people believe that the crash is going to happen after Donald Trump's second term is over. Once he cements his second term, then the crash will happen right away, and then the gold system and things like that will then come about. The new system will come about. That is a point, a valid point that I have put in the back of my mind, and I will accept that point of view, for those who say that, because I did decode the $100 bill, and that's exactly what is on the $100 bill. That when Donald Trump wins the next term, the he will implement the gold system. That they will the fiat system would have debt system would have crashed, and the new fiat, the new gold system, gold standard system, it might only be one third gold, two-thirds gold, but a new gold system, gold back system would occur. The new gold back $100 bills, and real assets with with real value behind it. Okay, no longer this fake value and all this other stuff. So that's on the $100 bill. So it could easily happen that way. So I'm not disputing that. Okay, if I have to wait until then, if we have to wait until then, then so be it. Okay, I have changed my, financial plans around. I'm no longer putting, 60 to 70 to 80% of my income into investing. I'm only really shifting it to about 10 to 20% is going into investing, and I'm going to actually live my life now, with the other money. So with the rest of the money that I make. So, you know what I mean? But either way, I'm on cruise control until this thing happens, because I put a lot of money into the markets, into the four stocks. I got my shares in there. Now I can start buying my silver, and I don't really need gold, but I might grab some gold here and there this year. I might grab some gold here and there, but I really don't need gold, and we still haven't seen that massive drop in gold yet. And I still think that we still need to see that massive drop in gold. And that might be because of they find a lot of gold in the Grand Canyon. There's a whole bunch of gold in the Grand Canyon. There's a whole bunch. Maybe it might be the earthquake in California that rises up the gold, and gives California a gold rush. That could also oversaturate the markets. But there's going to be some type of event, in my opinion. And Prophet Solomon's already talked about that the gold. She saw the gold price come down into a low level. And now we were talking about like anywhere between $300 to $800 range, or maybe 300 to like $600 range, that gold would come down to for a short period of time, and before it started to rise up again. So so there's some kind of event that's going to happen that's going to cause gold to go down. Okay, and I'm thinking it's going to be the gold rush in California once they have the earthquake. Now, not the massive earthquake, but like the 7, 8.0 earthquake that's going to open the ground up, like Charlie Shant was talking about. An earthquake opened the ground, and there was a gold rush in California. Okay, now this is probably not going to happen until Donald Trump wins the election and California turns red, because this next election coming up, California has a good chance on turning red if there is voter ID and all these. So there's not no rigging, because California elections are rigged heavily, and so is New York and other liberal areas. So Donald Trump has to put these voter ID, and no illegal immigrants can vote and things like that. These things need to be in place before the elections. He's got to make sure that the illegal immigrants cannot vote. He's also got to make sure that voter ID is in there and some other things in place, so that the liberals cannot cheat on this elections. Okay, so it's going to be hard, but if he can do that, then it looks like we have an active shooter here in America. Okay, so I'll check that out in a second. But if he can do that, you know what I mean, then he has a chance on winning California, because California is in big trouble financially. Everything is just skyrocketing. It's like a massive inflation over there, and people are exiting California like crazy. And all those people who exit California can still vote as Californians. So imagine millions of people have exited California over the last 24 months, and they're still going to be registered Californians that are going to be voting against the liberals that run California, because they exit out of there, right? And so that's going to be interesting to see how if California actually turns red. And I think if it does, there could be that gold rush. There could be that earthquake with the gold rush. So I don't. So we'll see, because that earthquake is supposed to be, it was supposed to already happen. So you know what I mean, it was supposed to already happen, and so God is delaying it for some reason. Okay, and I'm not talking about the massive one. I don't think that's going to happen for another 10, 15, 20 years, but I'm talking about the 7.0, 8.0 one that everybody was watching and waiting for. That just didn't happen. So maybe God is delaying it for some reason. I don't know. Okay, so anyways, let's see here. So Donald Trump talking about the stock market. He says stock market at all time high. How are your 401ks doing? Now Donald Trump made a tweet like this, and he said 409ks. So people are saying, was that an active mistake, or was that some type of decoding? And so I'm gonna look on the 13th to see what, and maybe he was putting a code in there for the 13th of January. So we'll see. Okay, so, or maybe he was putting the code in for April 9th. Okay, so we just have to wait and see. Okay, so write down April 9th, and also write down January 13th. Okay, so let's see what happens on January 13th, and maybe we'll see what happens on April 9th. It might have been a miss up, or it might have been a some type of code. Okay, and somebody here, Jeff, you know, we saw you call it 409K. Brainiac. Okay, not realizing that that could have been a code. Okay, could have been a code for the people for me elite decoders to decode. So I quickly wrote down for April 9th, and I quickly wrote down January 13th. So let's see if there's something happens on January 13th, because that might be the day that Iranian, maybe that was a code for Iran to maybe strike on response on that date. So I'm going to be watching January 13th to see if Iran responds and reacts, because Iran is still saying, Iran militias are still saying that they're going to be responding very soon. So could it be on January 13th? Could Donald Trump have given them this secret code to when they need to respond? I don't know. Remember, this is all a game at the end of the day. Okay, so all right. Anyways, we'll find out on January 13th, because if something big happens on January 13th, then you know that Donald Trump showed you right there on Twitter. Okay, but anyways, he says 70%, 80%, 90% up, and he's talking about the 401ks, and he says only 50% up. What are you doing wrong? Okay, 50% is pretty good though, but yeah, for have to have a market go up this much since Donald Trump has taken office has been crazy. Now, this person down here says, Samir says, thank you, Obama, for getting us out of recession. We never have gotten out of recession. We have never got out of. This is why you cannot listen to people online. They have no clue what they're talking about. The United States of America have never gotten out of recession. Never. We have never gotten out of recession. All Obama did was QE. That is not getting out of recession. When you do quantitative easing 1, 2, and 3, that is not getting out of recession. Okay, that is putting you more deep into recession. You're trying to get out of it with fake money, and he could, and he did not. All the numbers are a lie. Donald Trump's numbers are lies. The whole government numbers are lies. I think everybody knows that by now. But apparently they don't, right? So Samir says, "Thank you, Obama, for getting us out of recession." Like Obama wanted to get us out of recession. I mean, it's like the same president who literally almost destroyed our whole entire military by cutting it in half and firing all the generals and giving all them and giving billions of dollars to Iran and all of our enemies around the world, bowing to everybody he met, degrading the power of the American president. Okay, yeah, he really wanted us to get out of recession. Yeah. It says, and starting the stock market in an upward trend again. Yeah, well, I mean, it's easy when you're printing money. I mean, Samira, you could have done that. I could have done that. Everybody listening to me could have done that if we're telling the feds to print money like to a zillion, and so our children don't have a future. Anybody can do that. Anybody can pretend money out of thin air with the feds and with Janet Yellen and just prop and buy up the stock market. Anybody can do that, Samir. And same thing for you, Donald Trump. Anybody can do that. These markets are not real. So Donald Trump is setting himself up for a fall here because when the markets finally crash or there's some type of black swan event that exposes the feds are buying up all the markets, even though we've been talking about it and it's out in the open and everybody knows about it, but the feds are not stopping. Something is going to have to cause the feds to stop. It's going to have to be some type of black swan event that causes the feds to stop printing. And that's when the crash is going to happen, in my opinion. Something is going to cause the feds to stop printing. They're not going to be able to print anymore. I don't know what it's going to be though. It could be China could do something. It could be I don't know what it's going to be. Okay, but something's going to happen where the feds can't print anymore and the markets are going to crash. Because as soon as the feds can't print any more money, billions of dollars, so to keep the markets propped up, the markets are going to crash 70%. Easily, the markets are going to crash. People have seen it in their dreams where it go. Even prophetess Shirley, she told me it's going to be a boom, 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 like within four. I mean, it's going to crash so fast. It's gonna happen out of nowhere. But it's going to be some type of black swan event that no one's expecting. Okay. Now we don't know when it's going to happen. It could be this year or it could be after Donald Trump wins the elections. Okay. Now I'm pretty sure Donald Trump doesn't want it to happen until after he wins the election because he's already won the elections, right? And so they're going to continue to print and print and print and print and print money. Now they did say they might stop in April, and so they're really nervous about that because of the tax returns and things like that. So they're thinking they might have to stop in April. So imagine if once they stop in April, everything starts to tank, and and so we'll see. Okay. This is going to be very interesting what happens in April because they said they might have to stop in April temporarily. You know what I mean? But any type of a week or two of no QE, the markets are going to crash because no one was known. Nobody's really buying at these prices. It's all the feds. So there's no support. There's no support at these prices because everybody knows the market is 70% overvalued, easily 70% overvalued. Everybody knows that. That's in Wall Street. They're enjoying the ride up with the feds, just like we were enjoying the ride up with Bitcoin when Tether was printing tethers out of thin air and then using it and then sending the billions of tethers into exchanges and buying up all the Bitcoin, right? And they kept doing that. They were printing literally like a billion tether a day and buying up all the bitcoins, or maybe it was 100 million tethers a day. I don't know, but they were printing like 100 million tethers a day, and then sending it into the exchanges and buying up all the bitcoins. And that's why that's how Bitcoin went to $20,000. And people thought that Tether would not stop; they were just going to continue. But nope, the elites told them to stop and told them that's it, 20,000, that's it, we're crashing now. And as soon as Tether stopped printing money, Bitcoin crashed, right? Bitcoin couldn't hold up because there wasn't no real support. No one was buying really at those prices. It was really Tether was the one doing it. Now there was people buying here and there, and people lost a lot. Some people sold their homes at 16,000 to buy Bitcoin, and some people took money or ended their 401ks or their pensions accounts so they can put money into Bitcoin. I mean, it was crazy at that time. And I was telling people, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, because this thing is gonna crash at any second. And people were like, nah, you just hating. You know what I mean? I'm like, how am I hating? You know, like this thing is going parabolic. When things go parabolic, they're gonna crash. And then boom, started crashing. Right? As soon as you got to 20,000, it was a wrap. Crash all the way back to 3,000. Right? And people got burnt. People learned a big lesson. Number one, never get greedy. Always take your profits. Just like we did with Zion Oil and Gas, we didn't get greedy. 50 cents is there. 55 cents, 56 cents. You take your profits, man. You're up. You're up. Some of you guys are up. 100 to 300%. Take your profits, man. You know, what are you waiting on? You know, take your profits and then relax, and then see what happens from there. It's not like you can't jump in at any time. If they announce that they have oil, you can jump in that same day. You're not gonna miss out on big gains just because they announced that they have oil. Yes, it's gonna go up crazy, but you're still be able to get in. Okay. So you can get in pre-market, you can get in during the market, you can get in after markets whenever they make that announcement. It's not like you're missing out unless you're like stuck in some building that has no internet or something like that. Then that's a different story. Okay, but if they make the announcement that they have oil, you're not going to miss out. You can buy pre-market, you can buy market, you can buy post-market, after markets. Okay, so you're not going to miss out. um Okay, so that's what's going on. All right. And so Donald Trump I don't like that Donald Trump is tweeting about this a lot because people are going to remember this when the crash happens, and they're going to be out in the streets blaming Donald Trump for the crash, because Donald Trump is making it. When Donald Trump makes these types of tweets, a lot of people, even the people that don't like him, they then take money that they shouldn't take and they put it into the markets because of Donald Trump. Oh, the market's going to continue to go up. Oh, my 401k is going to continue to go up. I'm good. Then let me put money in. Let me take money in that's in my savings right now, and I'm gonna dump it into the markets. And so when the crash happens and they lose all of their money and the 401ks is down 70, 80, 90%, this is going to happen, but it's going to happen the opposite way, right? So when the crash happens, your 401k is going to be down 70, 80, 90%, right? And so you're going to remember Donald Trump's tweets, and so people are going to be calling out Donald Trump. That's why I kept saying the last 2 months, Donald Trump, what are you doing? What are you doing? No, don't do this, because what are you doing is you're setting yourself up, because when the crash happens, and publicly, because the crash has already happened privately. That's why they're pumping all the much QE money so it won't happen publicly. But when the crash happens publicly, you're going to be blamed for it because of all the tweets everybody's going to have all the tweets and then you can't delete these tweets because as soon as you tweet, everybody copies and pastes it, right? They copy it for the reference. So so the liberals are going to use this against you. Now, of course, if you've already won the elections, it doesn't mean anything. Well, they can try to use it to impeach you. Well, that's not going to happen. So maybe Donald Trump's like, well, you know what? I'm gonna tweet all this stuff, and even if the crash did happen, I don't want the crash to happen until after my second term. So, and then we'll bring out the new system. So I don't really care, right? And if that's the case, and that's a good plan, okay? But if the crash happens in the winter or the spring or the summer, then you got some problems on your hand, Donald Trump. You know what I mean? Because now everybody's 401k is down 70, 80, 90%. And now they're in the streets and they're using your tweets against you. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I know that people have seen visions of people running into the streets and blaming Donald Trump for the crash. And and I'm pretty sure it's because he's tweeting all of these financial things as a president of the United States. You know what I mean? So he's a financial president, right? He's a financial president, so he's tweeting a lot about the finances, but yet they're going to use it against him if the crash happens. And it's only going to take one black swan event to make this crash happen. So good luck on that, Donald, because when you post stuff like this, Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, you're setting yourself up, man, because you know the crash is going to happen. He knows the crash is going to happen. That's why they're putting billions of dollars into the markets. So it won't happen publicly yet until after his elections, like people are saying. And I agree with people that that's exactly what he wants. He wants it to happen after his elections, so then he can go into the gold standard. But what if it happens before his elections with a black swan event that he didn't even expect? The Fed didn't even expect. Hmm. That was going to be interesting. Anyways, God bless the president and in America and everybody else and all you people that are listening. And I just wanted to make a video on that because now we know why people are going to be in the streets when the crash happens and they're going to be blaming Donald Trump because he's tweeting about the markets. He tweets about the markets all the time. He tweets about the markets and he tweets about the financial stuff. Now he's tweeting about the 401ks. So that's what they're gonna. That's why they're gonna be in the streets, you know, angry at Donald Trump. I was trying to figure out why they're gonna do that, but I know now. I've known for the last 3 months because Donald Trump tweets about finances all the time, and they're gonna use that against him when the crash happens. Anyways, that's it. Peace out. God bless. He's still gonna be the president. He's still gonna do another 4 years. We will get the gold standard, and the dollar will be gold back, and everything will be just fine. Donald Trump will recover the economy, and which is gonna actually help him in the next election if the crash happens. Within the next like 3-4 months. And everybody watches Donald Trump recover the economy, it's going to help him in the elections. Now, if he keeps, if we don't see that black swan event and Donald Trump, and we go into the elections with the markets at all time highs and things like that, Donald Trump's going to win easily. We already know that, right? And then if the crash happens after that, he's still going to recover America quickly. Regardless of when the crash happens, Donald Trump is still going to recover America very quickly. All right. So, anyways, that's it. Peace out. God bless. Bye. Eyes open.